Hello and welcome into the Smite Challenger Circuit North America edition today. As you can see, you get an all UK cast, although, let's be honest, I've been over here too long now. Alpha Jackal going to be joining me here today. Alpha, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing extremely well. It's nice and, well, late for me. 4 PM start for us over here in the UK, and we're going to be watching some North American action today, and I can't be more excited for it.
We are, and when we talk about the North American action, let's have a look at the schedule first of all and just have a little check-in to see exactly what we've got to look forward to this week. Today, we're going to be checking in on Winner Dogs versus the sturdy Artisans. The Artisans undefeated so far in North America. And later on this week, you'll catch on Saturday the Accounting Department, Elysium, Snake Hunters, Pandemonium, and then we'll also have some more North American action on Sunday with the rest of the SCC. But today, it's all, as I said, about the Winner Dogs versus the Artisans. Let's have a look at the standings real quick, and you can see the Artisans undefeated at 7-0 right now, whereas at the bottom, well, towards the bottom, Winner Dogs have found their second win now, so it puts them at 2-5. But Alpha, honestly, between these two teams, I'm a bit surprised Winner Dogs are as low down in the standings based off the, the sort of composition, the players on that team.
Yeah, you have a look at the Winner Dogs roster. Andinster, very tenured and world champion jungler. Aquarius up-and-coming solo laner, even been in the SPL. Gamma and Wowie combining for the dual lane, and Benny Q in the mid lane. It is a very strong roster, and it's one that provides a lot of aggression in the early game. You have a look at this team play week in, week out, day in, day out. They will fight you in your jungle, whether they are 2k ahead or 20k down. They will still just run in there and fight you as if they are still owning that jungle. And that provides a good playstyle for them to snowball, but also means that they have the tendency to get snowballed on. If they find themselves behind, it's very difficult for them to turn the game around in their favor.
And the Artisans as well, when we look through their roster, we can see it's Stuart, Ionic, Pagon, Sino, and Relentless One. It's not like these two, sets of teams are very far apart in my eyes. Like you said, some members of both teams have been part of the SPL before. Some even getting an MVP at Worlds. But here's a little look at some of the replays you can see out from the sturdy Artisans, who, as we said, undefeated so far. Alpha, how do you feel about them? Is there something they're doing different to the rest of the North American SCC, where they're finding these wins, or are they just, doing the basics well?
They're doing the basics right. They're also playing the objectives extremely well, I feel. They always know exactly what they want to do in their picks and bans, and they also know exactly how they want to play out these games. See, they're very grouped, they're very well disciplined, and they always have an objective in mind. When second they take the fights, they are taking it for a reason. It's not just get a kill for kill's sake. It's I'm getting this for the red buff, and getting this for the gold fury, and getting this for the mid tower. There's always a reason behind it.
Well, let's get ourselves into picks and bans and see how this one plays out between the two. Because at the moment, I'm excited to see how the drafts go. Obviously, bonus balance was on Tuesday. These games were played last weekend, so it won't include the bonus balance from Tuesday, however. So we'll see if that does affect anything in picks and bans, and we continue to see. So at the moment, it's Tsukiyomi and Giannis banned away, the first two. Giannis bans, is it really that big of a deal these days, Alpha? Is it very, are people just so worried about the rotations he's bringing? Is he really that much of an issue?
I honestly think he's probably one of the strongest mid laners in the game, and
okay.
Whilst it's not the bonus balance patch that they're playing on, once that bonus balance does kick in and Scylla's nerf does happen, he rises in stock immediately. So to see the fact that he's banned out, first ban here by Winner Dogs, they are really scared of the potential of the rotations, of the fact that they can just move in and out of team fights as well. And don't forget, like I said, Winner Dogs, they want to aggress on you very easily. They want to just run at you time and time again. You can't really run at Giannis, because he just runs through the walls and gets away from you.
Yeah, well, speaking of running, that's what Ymir kind of likes to do. Run at you, try and drop a wall in the right sort of place behind you and hit that frost breath. We've seen a lot of Ymir as of late, a little bit less in the SPL this week, however, but I do think he's going to be very effective. And speaking of effectiveness, Tyr already for the solo lane. No King Arthur, could Cullen band away. Is Tyr really the next go-to there, Alpha, in your opinion?
one of the best abusers of Bluestone, certainly brings... It does bring a similar playstyle to that of the King Arthur. You do want to just go into the backline a lot easier, but I feel like his burst potential is a lot stronger than the King Arthur. The King Arthur will just sustain his way through the backline and eventually whittle your health down, whilst the tier wants to win the fight in a couple of seconds. So I'm looking at Winter Dogs here. It's loads of displacement so far on this tier in Sobek. They're looking for that one pick, instantly kill them, and then go for the 5 versus 4 afterwards.
Yeah, my brain's already saying if I'm on the side of Artisans, I wouldn't mind a Stone of Gaia potentially here in this matchup, just because of the amount of knockups that are going to come into play. Heimdall and Guan Yu locked in, so Guan Yu more than likely in the solo lane here. Is that what we're expecting? I mean, with the Tallow Assault, you're knock-up immune against tier, right? But it is Sino, like you said, so you're thinking jungle?
I'm thinking it could very well be a jungle pick. I mean, you have a look at everything that Artisans pick, you go, well, Sino can play that in the jungle. He is crazy enough to do that. He picks Shark Jungle, goes crit on Shark Jungle, and makes it work. He picks ESET Jungle and makes it work. So any of these picks that they have, I could say, well, Sino's probably going to take it.
That's fair. I mean, it could be the Ymir in the jungle too, to be honest. But Ymir and Heimdall in lane together up against potentially Sobek and Jingwei here definitely shows that Artisans are going to get lane priority or pressure in that duo lane for the time being. With Jing and Sobek, their clear's okay. You know, they'll hold on here, Alpha. But at the same time, you know, it's going to be a bit of an ask to try and go against Ymir and Heimdall, who've got much better potential clear in the early game.
They'd have the better clear, but the kill potential if the Ymir is displaced probably does go to the Sobek Jingwei. Because if they're split up, they have to focus on one target for the Frost Breath. If they go onto Sobek, he's got that passive to help keep him a bit more tanky. And then the Jingwei will just be allowed to free cast. You don't want the Jingwei to free cast, especially with that persistent gust disrupting the Ymir's ability to escape. I did say ESET Jungle was played by Sino, and the ESET has been logged in here.
Wow.
And so he's played Raijin Jungle before as well. Which one of these is it?
I mean, it's got to be one of the mages. It's I wouldn't like to call it. I want to say it's ESET, yeah. Although I'm going to struggle with that name today. I'm still not off the old name of ESET, so I'll be there. But Circuit final lock-in. I don't mind the Circuit pick here either, Alpha, because of the amount of healing that Artisans do have. This could make an impact.
It certainly will. You have to be careful of the fact that there is damage mitigation coming out of that Circle of Protection, so that last breath going to be doing less damage. The burst combo from Circuit going to be less damage overall. But the fact that it does negate that healing altogether could be the difference maker in that jungle matchup.
Well, let's see how this one plays out between the two then. Honestly, from my point of view, it's going to be interesting to see how the mid lane works out with the jungler, but it's all kind of up in the air who the jungler is going to be for Artisans a little bit. As we get into the game, we should get a little look at exactly who the Artisans are going to throw in the jungle here. We predict it's probably going to be Sino with the ESET, and it is going to be the Sino with ESET in the jungle. I mean, let's be honest, what is the play there, Alpha? Is it really quality ganks, or is it more focused towards, you know, trying to get ourselves into team fight territory where that ESET can come up big with the amount of CC they're going to bring?
It's all about the team fight and objective control. They can fight in the early game. I mean, two mages, especially high damage early game mages like an ESET and Raijin, you kind of don't want to face as a Merlin because your mobility can be exposed quite easily. But I don't see Sino really being a heavy influence until he hits level 5, gets that Circle of Protection online, and then starts to put pressure onto the left-hand side.
Speaking of starts real quick, you can see the little bit of a difference between the Artisans and Winter Dogs. On the right-hand side, Winter Dogs are starting with the solo laner and jungler together at speed, so Aquarius will hit level 2 before going to lane. However, does give Gamma a bit of work to do in terms of catching up, as Sino, now already level 2, going to head straight towards the mid lane and start for the pressure there. So at the moment, it does mean that a little bit of pressure for a second for Relentless One in that solo, playing that Guan Yu up against Tyr.
And that's kind of what you want to try and do against Tiz. Put him under pressure and start setting yourself up for a blue buff invade. If Sino is able to make a rotation over to this right-hand side quite early on, get a kill onto Aquarius, or maybe even just help Relentless One take away the blue buff from this tier, it's a very difficult situation.
And Sino under a bit of pressure early on, uses the Wingus, good Spirit Ball, beads instantly used by Benneq there too. Pigon getting some good damage out, but not enough to find a kill early on. But it's good pressure out from the Winter Dogs there, who took as much as they gave. And as you were saying, you know, that solo lane pressure, we'll see how that works out for them too. I'm excited to see how this one plays out when it comes to team fights, because I do feel on paper here, it's kind of even, you know? I would say, like, in terms of team fight potential, both have an availability to do that.
I think in teamfight potential, 5 versus 5 hits completely in the way of sturdy Artisans. The amount of AoE control that they've got, the amount of damage they can just output onto BennyQ. I did say that the lack of mobility can be exposed by these two mages, and it's exactly what's happened. Gamma, one more shot, he's out.
It's big tip though! Sino gonna go for it and will get the Spirit Ball, won't die to minions either. 2 kills, the way the Artisans early on then. And as you can see on the screen as well, I know I've not mentioned it just yet, but Gamma and Andinster have switched roles here today. Andinster, former jungler, well-known jungler, let's be honest, but now playing support, and Gamma in that jungle position. They got aggressive early, Alpha, but it came back to haunt them when, as you said, those two mages combined beautifully.
Yeah, they didn't really look at Gamma whatsoever, they just went, right, ignore the circuit, ignore the wave, just kill BennyQ straight away. They got his beads to boot as well, so that's going to be an even worse situation for the Winter Dogs to be in. This mid lane, comfortable for Pagon and Sino now to just walk in and do whatever they want to be able to do. And the fact that they got that 2 ranged characters versus the 1 ranged character from Winter Dogs in that 2v2 matchup means that the pressure instantly goes their way now.
Well, speaking of pressure, though, look at this. It's Winter Dogs on the aggression again. Looking at this red buff with Andinster now rotating over on the Sobek too. Trying to keep Sino at bay with the silence as well as Sino. But the red buff should be invaded here unless we can see this Ymir rotate in time. I don't think they're going to end up contesting, however. So Winter Dogs do find a small win there on stealing away that red buff.
That's thanks to the pressure they managed to have in the dual lane. Ionic backed a bit early, went over to the right-hand side just to try and defend some buffs and defend a potential invade on that end. But that left the left-hand side completely exposed, and exposed it has been for both the buffs, both invaded. Wowie, 1 health! Stewart going to be forced to use his beads as well to get away from the Sunder from Andinster.
Oh, Ionic was waiting around the corner, though, thinking he was going to flank around for Wowie, but instead he just walks in towards Andinster there. And I think what you could see there, Alpha, was like Wowie was trying to get aggressive intentionally, trying to burn a couple of things, trying to Stewart if possible, so his team could gank. But the difference is, Andinster and Gamma more focused on stripping away that purple in the jungle, which was successful again. So even though the Artisans got those first 2 kills, Winter Dogs are doing a much better job of invading the enemy jungle and trying to take some farm away as Pagon in mid lane. Going to get a full ultimate off onto BennyQ. Not enough for a kill just yet. Benny's juke boost just too much and returns as much damage as he took.
Unfortunate, Pagon missed the Raiju there, otherwise that definitely would have been another kill onto BennyQ. Beads force once again on the mid lane, gets him up, gets him back down straight away. And I like the idea from Winter Dogs so far. Put as much pressure as you can onto this left-hand side. Mid lane's going to be a tiny bit of a wash. Solo lane, sorry, you're not going to really kill a Guan Yu on a gank. Yes, you have Sirket, probably one of the best solo lane killers in the game, but it's a Guan Yu. He's out and he's safe. So just focus on the one lane that you can really win.
Yeah, I mean, take that into account as well, even if it's the other team. If the Artisans are trying to pressure the right-hand side of the map, can ESET really do something with Guan Yu to kill a tier? Yes, with the amount of CC, but it's not going to be easy, you know? It's not going to be an easy pickup of a kill there at all. So I do expect we'll see most of the focus this game on mid and left-hand side of the map. Ionic, now level 5, done a better job of farming than Andinster, who's been a bit more aggressive with his team, however. However, he does also have Benevolence, which would make some sense at why he's a little bit behind in experience too. How do you feel about the different support items these days? You know, we've got Sentinels, and we've also got Benevolence. Are you favouring one over the other, or is it very team comp specific? Oh, that thought blinking from Sino into a Spirit Ball. Yeah, and Andis is going to get frozen straight afterwards. Still only level 4, so no CC immunity to really escape the clutches of this team, and Pagon will get credit for the kill. And that was Winter Dogs getting aggressive around that red buff again.
This time, Ionic is around to help on the defense, knows exactly what the Winter Dogs want to try and do. 3 kills up now, find themselves out of sturdy Artisans. No action really at solo lane, just still the slap tickle fight that you want to be seeing over there with the 2 Bluestone Warriors. One relentless one did go into the tank boots though. Really just wanted to try and make sure he doesn't take as much damage from these minions as well as the Bluestone, but Aquarius going full on aggressive. He's got that better innate sustain, so he's able to afford going into less tankiness.
Stewart was going aggressive there, looking for a pick on Wowie. He will escape the clutches of Gamma, who was coming in for the rotation there. Bifrost used beautifully to escape, and just in time as well. I do like the action in that duo lane though. Wowie versus Stewart, a matchup I'm very interested in watching as this plays out, but most Hunter situations, it's going to come down to pressure from your teammates helping out.
And I like the matchup because these 2 ADCs are probably the most technically gifted ADCs that we have in the SCC, especially on the North American side. both of them renowned for their relic usage. I think Stuart's the best relic user ADC in the SCC by a country mile, which is why you see Study Artisans put a lot of faith into Stuart in their drafts and in their team play and basically in their whole identity. Stuart is usually the one that comes in, if it's not Pagon, to carry in that midpoint of the game to get the team back into it if they find themselves behind. And it is because he's just so notoriously difficult to gank. Probably one of the least killed players in the SCC right now.
And honestly, on top of that, it's great to see the matchup Worry, former SPL the last year or two, and then Stuart, who's been touted from the North American side as one of the up-and-coming hunters of the future, going at it today in this one. Definitely an interesting one to see how this plays out. Sino, now level 8, going to take this blue buff on the right-hand side, give that over to Relentless One, who, like you said, went for those reinforced Greaves for the most part this game. Bit of extra tankiness and sustain. I mean, against a Merlin, you're going to take a few dots alongside the likes of the Circuit and the Jungle too. But at the moment, it's all square in that solo lane. I think it'll stay the same for at least a while.
Yeah, until somebody comes over and breaks the stalemates, and they're going to have to bring a massive sledgehammer to try and break this stalemate, if anything. It is just going to be that. Until they start rotating as well, that's when you'll see somebody start to get ahead over. And this one's quite low.
I was going to say, the way Aquarius played that fight, his tier's really solid anyway. We knew that before, but looks like a Scorpion take might be happening on the left-hand side. 4 members groups of the Artisans, and no one really inside from the Winter Dogs. They're on the right-hand side of the map, and realizing that, I think they're going to try and strip some of these Harpies in the jungle, but it does come at the cost of the Scorpion, and Wowie now getting ganked too. No one in sight. This is basically a 4v1 if they need it, but they realize it's just going to take 2 of them with Sino and Stuart there, getting their 4th kill of the game now. Artisans are off to a great start.
And they got the Gorp on this left-hand side, which is even better for them. They got the advantage in the solo lane now, the dual lane, sorry, with Stuart getting ahead and Wowie taking a tumble there, his first tumble of the game. They can start to put pressure on this Gold Fury very easily with the fact that they have this E-set jungle.
Oh, gank in the middle lane for Manister, looking towards Pagon there, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get that at all.
He's not going to be able to jump in there. Just backing off, though, right now. Artisans, they look to try and just secure some of their more jungle farm.
Now Aquarius on the right-hand side. Now in level 11. Bit of a lead over Relentless now, not by much. One shield now picked up for Gamma in that jungle position too. Only 0, 1, and 0 right now, but 2 levels behind the E-set jungle, which is not something I was necessarily expecting for the most part, although Gamma has been around the map quite a lot trying to support his team here, Alpha. Well, Alpha's having a couple of issues right now. I'm going to continue on with this one, left-hand side now. Purple buff is being taken away, and Gamma's trying to get some pressure on, but the silent stun combo uses his ult to get away from Ionic, who's wrapping around the back there too. And now onto the right-hand side, pressure for this red buff as well. Pagon was trying to get in there from the middle lane, but he took more damage than bargained for. Overextended to Pagon, but can he find the kill at least in trade? No is the answer. And now into the mid lane they go, looking towards BenQ. Sino and Ionic making a good combo, but they can't find the Glacial Strike. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Stuart's beads will save him from Sobek, and Sino dives on in to get BenQ at the same time. Aquarius forced back on the right-hand side, but all action. The good news is, though, Winter Dogs did get themselves a kill, but maybe Gamma's going to die here too. He does have speed buff. He's going to keep running, but Stuart's use of the Bifrost going to stop any sort of escape.
Stuart's behind you, and then all of a sudden Stuart's in front of you as well. Just a bit of deja vu for Gamma. He finds himself with the death, but they do get their first kill on the board. Finally manage to take down Pagon and gets BenQ slightly ahead, but we finally see the first action in solo lane. First relic usage as Aquarius beats.
Yeah, that's interesting for me, but I mean, at the same time, the CC, we would kind of mention it a little bit. E-set brings a lot of CC, Spirit Ball, Silence. They can be pretty impactful, but at the same time, it is tier, you know? You don't get hard CC'd for too long. I guess in a way, though, Alpha, if he's going for the Warrior Tabby, it makes sense to go Beads, you know? Because if he's going Reinforced Greaves, it would make less sense for me.
Yeah, Reinforced Greaves does have that 20% CCR, 10% if you're playing on the bonus balance patch, which obviously, as we said, these players aren't. So, yeah, just stun for a bit less and silence for a bit less. But, yeah, going into the power boots, I suppose Beads does, especially if you have a look at the side of Sturdy Artisans, how much control they've got on their team, and the fact that they have the Heimdall. That's the Through the Realms ultimate is probably one of the banes of Tier's existence, because you can't reduce that with your passive.
Yannick getting focused a little bit for a second or two. Gamma now collapsing with some more CC. Pagan over the wall with the drums of war. Just trying to slow down the damage and support his support, but his support is going to fall to Gamma, who had to use the ultimate at the end of the day to secure the kill. BennyQ getting credit for his second of the game, as now Wowie trading with Stuart. And at the moment, it was kind of an even trade. But the main thing is Wowie did manage to defend his purple buff to make sure he continues to get his farm, and should be back in time to get that wave 2.
And the pressure over there does mean that Pagon does have a bit of respite in the mid lane. Stuart threatened to kill on Wowie the second that the call was made from Pagon that they were rotating to try and help defend. He gets out, still manages to get the pressure onto him, backs off as well. So it is a good all-round play from the Sturdy Artisans, even though they did lose Ionic. Relentless One managed to get back to base. Aquarius uses his blink to try and stop it. Unfortunately, doesn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah, interesting with Aquarius' build too. I mean, I do like the Winged Blade. The funny thing in that is the Breastplate of Valor, just against so many magical gods. I mean, it's great. It's 20% CDR, right? But Breastplate of Valor up against 3 magical, I'm not so sold on that one personally. I know he's going to be dealing with Guan Yu a little bit, maybe Stuart, but maybe he had some other options. Anyway, on to the Gold Fury now. Artisans starting this up. Frenzy has been popped. That means fight. And the Fury's going down relatively quick here. Winner Dogs just weren't in position to really contest. And now they're trying to run backwards, but the wall prevents a bit of that. Andy's forced to pluck away. Circle of protection down. Not ready for anyone to give it a heal. But Aquarius trying to wrap around the back, being pushed out by Relentless One at the moment. Nobody died in this engagement at all. End of the day, I mean, what did it really cost the Artisans? A Frenzy and 2 ultimates for that Fury.
Now a blink as Gamma's being aggressed on. One more particular Tower Assault would have done it. Just watching it over the wall up into the tower. Anderster is going to be forced to retreat. Aquarius doing his best to try and draw the attention away from the structure, but he might fall himself, forced to go into the Lawbringer. Relentless One still chasing. Gets the stun, but no follow-up from the rest of his team. Stuart, meanwhile, finds himself in that 1v1 against Wowie, forcing him to back to base. Mid-tower should fall here for the Sturdy Artisans.
The good news is about North American SCC, it's always some action going on of someone scrapping every single second of the day. And now with this 4-man rotation to right hand side, I thought they might look towards Aquarius, but instead it's going to be the Pyromancer on top of that Fury. So Artisans really focusing on extending their lead just a little bit more, so approaching what can be about 3,500 gold now, I should say, about 3,000 gold for the time being. But in terms of experience across the map, it's interesting that I can see some Winner Dogs names a little bit higher. For example, BennyQ in mid, and solo lane for Aquarius, slightly ahead of their opposition. He's fine.
He's fine. It's just sparring with these two. He's playing with his fiddle. Oh, Danitz is here as well. 3v1. He likes these odds to Stuart.
Well, I mean, buying time for his team, because it means he's getting the red buff on this left-hand side for Pagon, which Andy could have been looking to try and invade there, so it gives him a bit of a window. But this could mean the Tier 1 tower ends up falling down if they don't get him some help sooner rather than later. Luckily, they're out of minions, but here comes the dive. Kiss onto Stuart. Great baseball bat. That's a confirmed kill for him. Plugged back under the tower. Wowie trying to find the thread, the needle, but here comes the rotation from the team. Stuart's still alive for a second or two longer. Wowie will get that last basic attack, and everybody's on the run. Was it worth it, though, for Gamma, for Stuart in trade? Well, if they get Andinster, I'll say no, because Artisans end up with a 2-for-1. If Andy can end up falling here, he'll buy some time, but he's certain to fall.
A great play by Stuart. Does use the Aegis at the perfect time as well to avoid the damage from lurking in the waters. Uses the ultimate to get good CC. He played that fight perfectly. Gets himself a kill. Gets the team a second kill in the form of Andinster. He was dead to rights regardless, so he got the best trade possible for that entire situation.
Now Sino threading through the jungle. This Tier 1 tower in the mid lane for Winner Dogs on its last legs. And that's why you've got Sino rotating around the back, forcing BennyQ to flicker away to safety. Now forcing Aquarius over to help defend, but it's going to be too little too late to stop that Tier 1 falling. And instead, Sturdy Artisans to get what they come for, but blinking from Aquarius, fearless power cleave onto Pagon, Lawbringer over the wall, change of target towards Sino, circle of protection did huge damage to BennyQ, and the wall's going to prevent the escape, has to use the Aegis, but I go boom, says Ionic, and he'll get himself credit for that kill. And with that, the team fight is still going on as Relentless One plucked back under the tower for a second. Ionic knocked up too, but the wall prevents a lot of damage from that Tier 2 tower in the mid lane. Another pick for Sturdy Artisans as the fighting never ends.
And Sino gets himself out of there. How he survives, I have no idea. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, and manages to find the one slither to squeeze himself through. Manages to help out his team get a kill. But I like the engagement with Aquarius there in that fight for Winner Dogs. Draws 3 people's attention away from the fact that they're killing Sino, and then almost gets the kill onto him as well by Law bringing over the wall.
Well, he just gets out with his ultimate as Pagan pops his there for extra damage. Ionic still hovering around, keeping Gamma at bay as the red buff taken away again. Only 16.5 minutes into this game now, but you can really feel why the Artisans are #1 seed at the moment in the SCC in North America. They are all action, all go. And let's be honest, they're comfortable enough to play something like ESET jungle and make it work for themselves. This is looking very good for them here today, Alpha.
Yeah, it's also that camaraderie that we were talking about before. It's all calculated. They're always just around. Almost feels like they have 7 players on the map at times. So just how often you find them 3 or 4 man groups rotating to where you feel like you have the advantage. Ionic's been kind of ever present as a Sino. Pagon's been holding down the mid lane, rotating where he needs to be, and Stuart's just been. Well, Stuart and Relentless One have just been rock solid in these side lanes to the point where it's difficult for any form of advantage to be put anywhere on this map, just because of how well this team's playing.
Well, there is some adaptation from Winner Dogs there. I'm just keeping an eye on the magical defense coming through. A couple more Wing Blades that now has magical protection, remember, alongside Talisman and Heartward Amulet there from Andinster. They realise the magical damage is a lot, but Relentless One, a little bit deep in the jungle here, surrounded by 3. However, no over-commit there from Winner Dogs. They let him escape relatively unscathed. Meanwhile, the rest of the Artisans have started up this Primal Fury.
Absolutely no one around here for the Winner Dogs. No wards to speak of as well. Completely free objective, and not often you get to say that in a competitive game.
Why is Andy getting 1v1 by Relentless One when the rest of his team are nearby? Hello? Is anybody going to help Andinster here? Does nobody want to help the support player who's level 11 against the levels? Nope. Okay. Well, BennyQ now in mid lane, forced to use his beads to get away from Sido, but the flicker into the Spirit Ball, and BennyQ's going to go down too. Aquarius has to blink over the wall from Ionic, looking for the backline, but everyone's too healthy to really do anything about. Gamma ults onto Sino, who gets his shield, prevents a lot of that damage coming through. Sino now on a rampage. Wall out from Ionic, dashing from Pagon. Good finish from Aquarius, but has to Law bring her away to safety as the pressure in mid is just too much for the Winner Dogs to happen. And Aquarius is still going to fall under his Phoenix. This has got out of hand quick at only 19 minutes in.
I mean, BennyQ got exactly what he deserved there by letting his support just perish on the right-hand side, not going to help him. You just get killed by the death ball that is the sturdy Artisans. They've done the old energy strat of just wait for it. Oh, 17 minutes is on the clock. Okay, now we can just take all his objectives. Exactly. And they've just fought.
And he's back in the fight, but he's only level 11. No secondary relic to keep him topped up. And with a Sunder on top, won't keep him alive any longer either. But this middle Phoenix still alive, and Ionic has stayed around a little bit too long. Walls himself off, unfortunately, and ends up falling down. Middle Phoenix at half health, but the good news is Winner Dogs do manage to hold on for now, and they do have a bit of a power play in a moment or two's time when Aquarius respawns. What do they do with it though? Well, it doesn't look like they're going to get a chance to make a decision because it looks like Artisans might want to fight too. Oh! That 68 crit from Stuart just destroyed Gamma out of the fight completely. And now Andy's into pressure again. Well, he has to airstrike away, but where's he going to get to? Not far enough, in my opinion. Silent Spirit Ball for 600 damage. And Pagan jumping on in with the drums at wall one more time. And this could be all she wrote for this one. With Aquarius hitting a double fearless, though, it'll slow him down. But he won't have the damage to kill anyone just yet on his own. And it looks like Artisans are very upset about that. Diving on him for Aquarius at the backside. Andy can only watch on as the Spirit Ball is juked out by Aquarius. Middle Phoenix now should fall.
Okay, so Gamma's got himself magical defense, boots, magical defense, and decides to jump in front of Stuart's axes, a physical hunter.
Who has crit. Which is one thing that you're not surprised about in this day and age. But at the same time, Stuart lands one basic attack. It could really hurt you. Aquarius really chasing this though. We can see Stuart's low, Relentless One's low, but with his blink on cooldown for a couple more seconds. I think he was just in combat more than anything else the whole time with minions. He couldn't find anything. With that, Winner Dogs push down mid though. Going to take away the red buff. However, they have fallen very far behind. 11,000 gold, give or take, at this moment in time. And it's going to be a hard road back into it. Do you go to Fire Giant now if you're Artisans here, Alpha, or do you just keep fighting them up? You know?
100% go towards Fire Giant, take that objective down, and just push him for the win. What are Winter Dogs going to do? Jump into you again and get crit for 700 this time? Get Spirit Balls in the face for 800 damage when Sino's got Protector of the Jungle when he's level 20? They can't fight them at this point. Winter Dogs have to hope that they can stall the game for 10 minutes at this point before they can get back into the game.
You see the experience gaps have climbed now in Sturdy Artisans' favour too. Fire Giant started up Pagon, the only one further forward than the rest of his team, but nobody on the side of Winter Dogs around to contest this FG whatsoever. Could they have even contested it anyway other than try to steal? But at the same time, how do they fight into this team now on defense? I mean, do you try and 5v5 the Phoenix, the tier 2 tower? What's the call here, Alpha?
You hope that Eonic and Relentless One both blink, and Sino all blink in, miss, and get 3-man Fearless into the fountain.
Well, when you rely on those sort of odds, I don't have too much hope. Aquarius on the right-hand side was just trying to get over the wall and maybe help out, but Ionic spots that out, gets the Ancile, and Sino joins him here on the east set to continue the chase. Tier 2 tower on the right falls down, as Gamma now heads back to base after picking up a bit more farm, but onto the Phoenix line we go.
And the Phoenix defense is where Winter Dogs should be able to hold a little bit better than outside of it, but just waltzing in right now with Sturdy Artisans, mainly because of the lack of positioning from Winter Dogs. We're all scattered, all weren't really here for the defense, but now they are. Should be able to hold up a bit more of a fight, but here comes the Blinks.
And Frenzy gets popped, cavalry charge to the back line, Relentless One already takes out Anster, worrying the pressure has to airstrike away. Stewart still slowly working on that Phoenix, as Worry will escape for the time being. Same could not necessarily be said for Gamma and Aquarius here, but it looks like Worry did fall down to Sino in the backline, who's just waiting for people to come through. Huge Spirit Ball on Q into a wall that the Aegis and the Freeze will connect, and he'll die in the fountain. It's a bloodbath in the Winter Dogs base here, and this looked like this will go game one. Shockingly enough, the way of the Sturdy Artisans, who played this very well, even though it's a very, for the most part, unconventional composition that they made work here today. Alpha, what do Winter Dogs need to do for game two now then?
Honestly, I wouldn't have a look at their draft, I'd have a look at the Sturdy Artisans draft. It is a lot of early game, a lot of lockdown, a lot of poke-based potential on that team comp. You have to realize, do they go into that exact same team comp again, and how do we fight into that? Do we draft something different, or do we force them into something a little bit more uncomfortable? Do we try and get the early game dominating dual lane like they had?
That's a good point. I mean, the dual lane did fall behind a little bit in the early game. We expected that, though, but at the same time, I don't think their draft was really bad. We'll find out, though, in game two if Winter Dogs can bounce back, however. We'll go to a quick break, and after that, pick some bans for game two.
On my own, no fixer. I'm gon' ball, no pick up. That I ate those, they live for. Talking on my back, go figure. Whole team eats from straight up. Never was the one to go flicker. No face, no case, no picture. Full place, big stakes, my dinner. Flip that, Canal Street. Flip back. Last week, old money. This week, new racks. Never buy 9 more. If I can't afford to gift wrap, stunning in your foreign car. You keep buying rental tags. Heard you rolling as a lean, we are not the same. Couple thousand in my pocket, this pocket chip. Rubber bands on my arm, this is not for play. I put 20 on the crib, while you cop a chain. I know they hate it or love it. You know I love when they hate it. Last year was living basic. Haters on the other side. 3 up, read between the lines. Know I got some angels with me. Made it through some evil time. Late night on some demon time. Pour the Sprite, I need a line. I can't lock it, see the line. Freeze time. Brainstorm, you cannot swim with your chains on. I can see none with the lights off. Cap, you been the main one. Coolin' when I got my mains on. Show money, but those aren't the same ones. I been told you that it was game on. Been winning since I was on game one. Telling me how to live like you made me. Going dumb and I blame you made me. Money longer than a grown-up baby. Step crazy in a new Mercedes. Thinking that's 550. 5 seats, 50 kids in there. Prime steak on my dinner plate. Nike tag for the dinner wear. Flex Never playing dress up. Never gonna let up. Never, ever, ever. Set up. Play with my fam, get wet up. Go, 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 won't let up. Never, ever, ever. Haters on the other side. 3 read between the lines. Know I got some majors with me. Made it through some evil time. Late night on some demon time. Pour the Sprite, I need a line. I can't lie, can't see the line. Freeze time.
I don't know if I'm okay. I don't see the light of day. Looking up to higher ground, thinking that'll be your sweet escape. These days gotta schedule the romance. They say that love is a slow dance. A short bike ride to the crib, using no hands. Oh, did it feel like I'm floating? But I'm falling with both eyes closed when I let the world spin. Testing the water, she got my nerves tense. Back when I ain't even have a purpose, I was so eager to learn some things. Anxiety bring out the worst in me. Society paint me as enemy. My making it by that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp on my scroll and my pen think it did. So mama found she to them legs. She told me that's not who I am. But nowadays I put on for the fam, see you when I can. I'm surrounded by my feelings, I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. I bet I perish with 140 acres. She want the horse and the carriage, a porcelain portion, the garbage. I talk to the mirror, I know that life's not the fairest. I lost my can, I can't pay off the bills with the blessing. Not sure I relate to the Reddit page. It's feeling like money is everything. Money is everything. It's everything I need.
Welcome back for Game 2 of Winner Dogs versus the Sturdy Artisans, and Alpha Jackal joining me once again for Game 2. Game 1, all honestly went one direction in terms of Artisans. Not really surprised with how they've been performing, Alpha. But what do you do if you're Winner Dogs here? Because when you look at how picks and bans went, I don't think they had a bad draft, if I'm honest. Like, you know, you've got Sobek, Sobek on top of the fact you've also got Wowie in that lane on the Jingwei. Like, their composition isn't terrible, but they just got outplayed, it felt like, in the game and on the map.
I suppose the only thing you could say about their composition is the fact that they have a lack of AoE control. Outside of the Sobek Ultimate and the Fearless, it is the single target CC only. It is single target damage only, pretty much. And you have Benny Q playing this Merlin who wants to try and hit multiple people with some of his abilities and try and control the team fights with a bit of lockdown help. It does mesh well, but not quite as well as Sturdy Artisans draft mesh together.
That's true, and you can just see sort of a Sino highlight reel on this E-set jungle. Yes, E-set jungle is what we just saw there, and it worked out very well. Here's a look at the standings of how that played out in terms of the scoreboard. 8-0 and 9 there for Sino in the jungle. Relentless one, though. Pretty solid performance, honestly, in that solo lane for the Guan Yu. Some of his rotations did make an impact as the game went on. And in terms of damage numbers, well, you know you're struggling when your mid laner and your jungler are under 8,000 damage for a 20-plus minute game.
Yeah, and the support is ahead of your jungler and very close to your mid laner. Meanwhile, Ionic actually only put up 4,000 damage as a Ymir, which is quite surprising. You'd sort of expect the Ymir alongside maybe an Ares to be some of the most damaging supports in the game, but 4,000 damage in that sort of game where they're ahead for the entirety of it, bit surprising, but he offered the lockdown, he offered the space control more than anything else.
My question is, did he actually max his Glacial Strike, or did he actually go for the Frost Breath and Wall Max him first instead, because he didn't necessarily need the damage? And, you know, if you're doing that, you are, like you said, all about the control. So, back to the drawing board we go for game number 2 now. Can Winner Dogs come back into this one and find something in picks and bans, or do the Sturdy Artisans just run away with this one here today? It's looking like it'll be Sturdy Artisans, but we'll find out now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it just depends on how the adjustments go in the very first few picks. I'm looking at the first 3 bans and the first 3 picks in particular here for Winner Dogs. What adjustments do they make? It's still the Yanis ban. They're scared of it. They don't like facing the Yanis, so I'm okay with this. But do we see them switch off of it and go into some more control-oriented bans? Do we see an Athena? Do we see a Heimdall ban? Do we see maybe even an ESET ban? Who knows?
That's possible. Well, it's going to be the Raijin ban here for Winner Dogs as well, realizing Pagon's good on the Giannis, and clearly pretty good on the Raijin too. Back to Artisans, who are going to take away the Anher one more time. Anher pre-bonus balance, just as a heads up, these games were played last weekend, so Anher's little changes in bonus balance in terms of cooldown reduction
Oh, there it is.
going up has changed, and there's the ESET ban too. So a lot of gods available here. Tiamat currently up is the first one that's coming to mind. Anyone for you that you're like, ooh, I would love to see this locked in now that it's available?
Athena. 100%. Like, Athena or Tiamat has to be one of the two here.
And Tiamat looking like it's going to be the case for the Winner Dogs here. Do we see Artisans take the Athena themselves, or do they drop the ball and give that to Winner Dogs too? Because I wouldn't like them to see him get both. Especially when Sido's in the jungle, he could, you know, maybe get good use out of this for the Artisans, to be honest.
They're going to take the Sobek instead. They could elect to take Sobek Athena and flex both of them. Don't forget, Sobek can play in support and solo. Athena can play solo, support, jungle,
anywhere,
mid
really.
One time, can even play ADC. Yeah, you just pick Athena and you can play her anywhere, fit her anywhere. But it's going to be the Chernobog lock-in. With On Her taken off the table and Heimdall still available, I would have bet my house, would have bet my drink, would have bet anything on the fact that that was going to be a Heimdall ADC rather than a Chernobog.
Super safe, though, is Chernobog, let's be honest. A little bit safer than that of Heimdall, even though Heimdall's relatively safe with that Bifrost and how he can rotate and use the ultimate to escape some clutches. But Chernobog has the ability to rotate around that map very quickly. And there's that Athena pick. Winner Dogs do get Athena and Tiamat here alongside now this Guan Yu. I like this composition so far from the Winner Dogs.
If I'm facing this draft, I'm instantly F6ing. Like, I don't care who I pick or who's on my team. I could have Adapting Jungle, I could have Prime, Emilito, and Irafa, and I could
you
have
season 2 now?
Solo lane, I'm mid.
Is that?
Yeah.
You're season 2, yeah?
No, I'm
okay.
facing this. Yeah, and I'm facing this draft. I'm still F6ing. I don't care. Like, that's how disgusting this core is so far for Winner Dogs. How can they follow it up? They still need an ADC. They still need... Could be a jungler, could be a support, could even be a solo, because we could see them take the Guan Yu or Athena into the support role. There's still a lot of flex potential here for the Winner Dogs draft, which I'm surprised we don't see Steady Artisans take advantage of. They're banning out junglers here rather than banning out ADCs.
Well, I mean, that means that they believe that it's going to be a jungler pick still for Winner Dogs, right? Which tells you Guan Yu solo, more than likely Athena support in this matchup, at least for now. But we'll see if Winner Dogs do change it up. Collie and Set also banned from Winner Dogs, so both teams taking a focus towards the jungle roles this game. And it's back over now to Artisans to see what they choose. It's going to be the Ratatoska jungle. So, once again, a bit more mobility through the sky with that ultimate. But at the same time, what does Ratatoska bring these days? Is he still a viable, good pick here, Alpha?
He's still quite a strong pick and has actually been finding more home in the solo lane than he has done in the jungle recently. Going into that sort of tanky Rat Acorn and 3 beefy frontliners so here from Winner Dogs. Ratatoska can fight into that very easily, and if he gets into that tanky Acorn and gets those protections start rolling up, he is one of the most deadly solo laners to come up against, because he is an assassin base damage-wise, but then has the stats to back it up as a warrior with that Acorn.
Well, you called it, but those jungle bans coming out from Artisans there, it wasn't a jungle they were after at all. It was a support Ares now locked in for Winner Dogs. So it more than likely will be the Athena, either jungle or solo, and Guan Yu flex into the other one of those two. I can almost guarantee it's going to be Ares in that support role, outside if I see a tier locked in the solo lane. It's the only way I may see an Ares crop up, you know?
Sino.
And a Chuck. You think it's Chuck jungle? Ratatoska solo
I
then?
did say, yeah, Ratatoska solo lane, Chuck, crit, jungle.
Chuck crit.
Let that sink in. Just
oh no,
Sino,
it will.
crit, chick, jungle.
I will say the biggest issue I see from the Winner Dogs is they don't have a ton of damage here, Alpha, and they're going to have to wait till the late game to really get to it. I mean, Tiamat, sure, she puts out good poke pressure, but it's just a squad of like frontline beef that I see here with a lot of CC. But where's the damage going to really come from? Are you really going to expect Jingwei to pop off in the early to mid game? I don't see that happening.
I see Athena being the linchpin of this draft. Going into the jungle, it has to do work work early, combine with the Ares, and just death squad as the two of them. Anybody caught without beads is just instantly a target to be annihilated and taken off the map. Has to be.
I guess the only real target I can see, though, is the Merlin, if you think about it. I mean, Chernobog's got enough escapes to survive a potential gank from this Athena. However, Merlin in the mid lane, he could be the focused target here. Let's find out, though, as Winner Dogs take to the field. It will be Gamma in the jungle on this Athena this game. And as we were just saying, I think he's going to have to go pretty damagey this time round. Would you say, Alpha?
Oh yeah, 100% will go damage. He might even go into the Bumba's Spear rather than the Bumba's Hammer as the final item from that Bumba's Dagger tree, just so they can also get a fair bit of split push off. Don't forget, that item ridiculously good at taking down structures, taking down phoenixes, especially if you have someone like Athena who can benefit from a lot of power in their build, plus extra power coming out from their enhanced basic with their passive.
Well, we know with the support item changes and things coming through, like Shell not really being looked at as much anymore, even though it's very, very viable, it just doesn't deal with critters effectively anymore. However, we do see that the supports this game blink for Ionic, but beads for Andinster is very interesting to me there. I guess he realizes he's going to get thrown around a little bit this game, Alpha, but still wants to be able to get that no escape off, I guess, in clutch moments.
He realizes that he is most likely going to be the target here. They don't want to pluck Athena because Athena will just turn around and kill you very quickly. But they pluck at Andinster. Ares' biggest draw is that the fact that he does a lot of damage. His drawback is that that damage comes out over time. It's not instant like other supports would be.
And when you think about the damage over time effects and the fact Reinforced Greaves are in the game and very effective, we'll see how this plays out. But look at this early start. Andinster and Wowie getting pressure against Stuart Ionic early on in this one. Ionic only level 1 because he did start with that Benevolence and give most of the farm to Stuart. So Ionic looking for level 2 and probably get his Pluck online next if it's needed. Especially with Winter Dogs being pushed up as far as they are. There's always a chance for a 2-minute gank that could be on the horizon. Sino though in the jungle on this Chak, and you said it's going to be crit this game. We'll see if it ends up going that way. If he's going crit though, what's the crit build for this Chak?
It's been a while since we've seen him play the Chak, but I believe it's going to go into the full power boots, then probably go into a stone cutting, followed up by the... Oh, a very weird play. But Andinster uses beads early and he's gone.
I mean, it looked to me at first Ionic missed that, but it looked like Andy stepped into it and then beads super late and then dies anyway. So, beads don't always work out as you intend sometimes, let's be honest. That's just the way it is, especially if you pluck it wrong on the Sobek. And now Wowie under pressure too. He gets away and just avoids the pluck. Ionic takes an extra tower shot though, which really hurts, but not enough for a kill for Wowie to find on his own. And so First Blood just away a sturdy Artisans based off a small mistake there from Andinster.
Yeah, and I like the play from Ionic, though. He waits for Wowie to start his dash before he uses the pluck, because Jingwei, the pick that you take into a Sobek, because you don't want to... Even if you get plucked, you just dash away, and all of a sudden you're further away and further behind. But if the dash is down, the pluck just affects you as any regular ADC would, and Wowie correctly holds his beads, holds his dash for the right time, and gets out of the situation.
Well, at the moment... We'll see how this plays out in the mid lane for Benecute on this Tiamat. I'm going to go to a quick pause for a second momentarily. But yeah, Tiamat in the mid lane. How have you found Tiamat so far, Alpha, in terms of competitive play? Have you seen like she's really useful? I mean, for my money, she's very much... She has to commit in to really get the most out of her damage, but she's very good at poking and like controlling an area.
In my mind, it's... Tiamat's early game is where she struggles a tiny bit. She doesn't get the pressure in the mid lane like most other mid laners would do. But if you can work your way through that with a good drafted comp, which most teams these days will be able to find something in the jungle to help alleviate that, you find yourself with a very powerful asset in the mid lane. The fact that she will just allow you to pressure lanes like no other mid lane mage will be able to. No other god in the game would be able to do, because just sets the giblets over onto that left-hand side, or the right-hand side, you're on the other side of the map, and all of a sudden the Phoenix is gone.
That's a good point. You call them giblets, is that what you do? I kind of like that. I don't mind the giblets too much. That makes sense. Although this time round, it's going to be Gamma and the jungle and the Athena alongside it, so I guess there is some pressure to be had with that Athena, just to keep Merlin on the back foot. But, you know, with a Merlin, he's also going to have that escape with Flicker. Not the same for Relentless One, though, who got blinked on and destroyed there. No beads available for him in this lane. Did go for the blink start, and that is the first kill of the game for Winter Dogs this time round. We're tied up at 1-1.
There's your damage. There's some damage right there. It's onto an assassin, but it's damage still. But most of that did come from Gamma managing to get the blink taunt off. Sino coming in for a massive wraparound here. One of these two players is dead.
Well, I think it's going to be Winter Dogs falling down here because it's a 3v3, but a big ultimate out from Sino. Gets some good damage off. Good look on Wowie, who gets flipped back into danger. Didn't have his beads available, had already used them. Into this guy goes Stuart with the Chernobog ultimate to try and collapse onto Anderson now, who's the next target. One more shot will do it, but it won't be enough. The chains will buy him just enough movement speed to separate himself from the team. But there's the power of the Athena coming into play there a little bit for my liking. liking. It didn't work out great for them, but you could just see it turned it straight into a 3v3 that looked like a definite double kill, I would say, for the Artisans there. Oh, Benny
forced to use speeds early. Sino's not letting this one go. There's the rain slow, but Pagon not able to get the cooldowns back up in time. But if you does survive with the use of his speeds.
Oh, the pluck off the mark from Ionic. He was looking for the play, but wasn't good enough to find it, unfortunately. Benny will survive again for a second, as 4 players basically in mid from Sturdy Artisans were looking to pick Benny there, but won't make it this time round. Still 2-1 to the Artisans.
Well, good start for the Artisans. Good start for Winter Dogs as well. They're not super fun. 1,000 gold at this stage of the game happens. Based off some natural farm aggression, based off macro game, you can find yourself in this situation. But it's not the end of the world, especially if you're able to have pressure in one lane, which it looks like they do over here on the solo side.
And they're trying to pressure onto Sino on this Chuck, who can't really escape these chains. Aquarius closing the gap in too. Ult for ult exchange, and Sino still in trouble. Gets killed as he lands, and Aquarius just manages to duke out Relentless One dunking on down. Gamma turns up to the fray too. Only rank 1 of that taunt, so it won't be for long. But here comes Ionic and Pagon too to punish Aquarius. He falls down first. Relentless One still alive and still surviving under this tier 1 tower as reinforcements arrive to give him some peel and escape. And Relentless One realizes he's got a window to go back in. Pagon gets credit for the kill on Gamma, and now Anderson's on the runaway. He should be able to escape this though. No further follow-up or real mana situation to be spoken of. And that was, what, a 2-for-1? We lost Gamma and Aquarius for the pick on Sino.
Yeah, and they almost managed to get the pick onto Relentless One, but I would like to have a look and see what exactly it was that Relentless One has leveled first in his abilities. Has he gone for the Acorn Blast, or has he gone for the Flurry? Because that's going to make a big difference to how his lane gets played. Because he has gone in for the Acorn, which gives him more protections. He's actually doing a mix.
Kind of even, yeah.
Let's see what he gets. Yeah, so Flurry is going to be the one that he maxes first, just so he can get that extra bit of protection himself. He is beefy once he flurries people. Like, he's got so many props from this, and the Aquarius can't do anything about it. He's just losing this matchup now because of this one change.
Yeah, interested to see how this one plays out now, because look at this, both Scorpions being taken by the Artisans at the same time, it looks like. Across the map now, tell Elias to be Harpies, but Relentless One walks back into Jage and gets taunted by Gamma. Good Acorn though, stuns them both, but the change from Anster causing so many problems, and Sino's ultimate will not protect him in time. Couldn't get the silence off. Now Sino in trouble as Benny rotates him with that minion to stun him. Great no escape onto Sino, but he jumps back towards the axe, gets away from the dunk damage, but can they peel away Aquarius? Not needed. Blink from Sino came into play. Instead it's Ionic now under pressure as the chains and the flames come through. It's a good fight from Winter Dogs this game round though. This is a scrappy battle between the two, where Sturdy Artisans are slowly still ahead in golden experience.
They just didn't cover the option for the Chuck. To be fair, no one plays against Chuck, so why would you think, oh, we need to cover this axe option, we've got him killed, especially considering we have an Ares, we can chain him. Oh, he's just teleported, we lost the kill, and he blinks away as well. And Ionic gets out, and you said it yourself in the draft. The lack of burst damage really came into effect there. Ionic should have been dead to rights. 3 members of the tank squadron just running at him and getting him CC'd, hitting all their abilities, and Benny's follow-up just wasn't enough.
Now you can see Annister still rotating to this right-hand side quite a lot here, trying to put some pressure on this Ratatoska. Seems to be a lot of focus towards solo lane this game, Alpha, from the Winter Dogs. I think they realise it's kind of tricky to find the kills they want to, maybe in that duo lane or that mid lane either.
Especially with the Chernobog, he can just ult straight out of the fight and then can dash into a wall. He got some massive mitigations. I'm surprised that Pagon has not been pressured at all in this mid lane with this composition. You have 2 of the best burning gods in the game, and I don't think Pagon's had to use beats once. It's a little bit baffling.
Well, it is only 8 minutes in, so maybe Winter Dogs will start to switch their attention towards the mid lane, especially as they start to realise Relentless One is getting tankier and tankier as time goes on, and a couple of failed ganks towards him at least. Like strugglesome ganks, I should say. He has died twice. Might not be worthwhile anymore, but Aquarius will be able to hold his own in this lane as much as he needs to. Just wonder when the first Gold Fury attempt may come through, and who it would be from. In my opinion, though, we kind of discussed burst and damage options. I do think it fares the way of Artisans, but look at this. Stuart diving into Wowie, taking the fight 1v1, forcing Gamma to come into the frame. Stuart going to take to the sky, realizing could be a bit of doom and gloom on the horizon if he sticks around. Is he going to come up and down, though? That's the question. He does have beads, and he beads immediately to avoid the taunt. Walks back towards Ionic, who's there, and Ionic might be able to get the kill, but that'll force Wowie's ultimate defensively. Ionic thinking about diving for the pluck there on Gamma, but won't find it. Not the worst situation there in the end for Stuart, who, let's be honest, he didn't need to be in that position though, Alpha. He's the one that took that trade.
Yeah, he dashed in very aggressively, looked in to try and get the fight onto Wowie, forces the ult from Gamma, manages to stay himself safe as well, and manages to get the Onyx rotation, so it's a good play overall from Stuart as he finds himself with good advantage in lane now. And it's going to pull Sino into the tower. Will it be enough to get a kill though? One more shot should do it.
Yeah, BennyQ gets credit for the kill, but that was nicely played, if I'm honest, because I felt for a second Sino was just going to burst down Andy. But Andy's chains and the flames did enough damage to Sino, who's gone for a more damaging build, that he's not going to survive long enough. And that no escape versus the Chak ultimate, the two of those, one against the other. Whoever does it first is going to lose. That's the rule. And always will be.
Always is the case with CC and Ultimate. So whoever ults second will win. It's a game of patience, a game of chicken. And Ionics playing chicken right now with the damage that he's taking. Going to be taking a whole host here, but slowly but surely going to be backing himself away. But wow, he's made his rotation as well. Could have caught Ionic off, but he gets out.
Same issue again though, whether in that team fight, just not enough damage to bring Ionic down. Tiamat didn't really bring enough in that early stage there. He is level 12 though, BennyQ in the mid lane, has his Spirit Desolation online, and those shoes are focused too, so we'll be swinging a little bit harder as time goes on, as Stuart now being looked at, has no beats, has no mana, and the greed of sticking around with no mana, no beats, no ultimate, you will be punished and pay the iron price.
And now back down to 1,000 gold in the lead of City Artisans. Winterdogs find themselves in the kill lead for the first time this set, and it's looking really, really good for them. They've got themselves a nice bit of pressure over here on the left-hand side, which is where you do want your pressure to be early because of that Gold Fury, which they could look to start taking now. But then it comes back to their issue again. Where's the burst coming from? BennyQ is playing Tiamat, not a god you would associate with taking down objectives that aren't static on the lanes.
We're still pretty close between these two teams at 11 minutes in, though, Alpha. I felt after Game 1 that Sturdy Artisans might just run away with it, especially after the E-set jungle. But Game 2, I mean, Winterdogs are given as good as they get, and because of that, they've got the kill lead, just not the gold lead at the moment.
Sturdy Artisans definitely providing the better macro game here as they find themselves just slowly but surely increasing the goal lead. Managed to find themselves a few invades as well to Relentless One on this right-hand side, just to strip a tiny bit more away from Gamma. That's putting Sino a bit further ahead. So you have this divide right down the middle of the map. Winterdogs comfortable over on this left-hand side. Sturdy Artisans comfortable over on this right-hand side, with the mid lane being almost this focus and struggle battleground, where whoever starts to wrangle control there should then start to wrangle control of the game.
You can see the supports going at it as the solo laner takes on Sino. Gamma dunks on in too, but Sino still has his ultimate available. Stun came through the end from Aquarius, that was just huge, and picks up Sino. Now Ionic forced to use the look in the waters defensively, will escape from the barest amount of health. No escape now onto Relentless One, has no beads. Or did he? Apologies. His beads were up and were just used there to survive the no escape ultimate. So Winterdogs pull away with another kill. But what can they get off the back of that? With Sino not on the map, Gold Fury's up, Pyro's up, but looks like no attention being paid to either right now.
And this is the difference between Winterdogs and Sturdy Artisans. Sturdy Artisans at that point will have run for an objective, would have pulled something, would have grouped up and taken down a tower, just something.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't get the tower, would have just put pressure onto it. Winterdogs, we got a kill. Alright, that's fine. Let's just reset and go for it again 10,000 times later.
Yeah, I mean, they got, what, a kill in the middle area there, forced a lot of beads and ultimates, didn't even go for Pyro they were next to, instead went back to their own jungle and did the farm, and now they're looking for a pick onto Relentless One on this right-hand side. His ultimate down, this is a good chase if they can find the kill, but they're not going to they're going to give up the goose at the end of the day there and fall back to safety this time around.
Bit of a change up from Sino's usual build path. I believe that's going to be put into a Winged Blade just to avoid this slow from Ares. It's been a nightmare for him to deal with. It's a slow from Ares, it's a slow from Aquarius' ultimate as well. Just get that off of him and he should be able to just move around these fights a lot better. But until that point, he's still a sitting duck, still hasn't back to base yet to get his beads.
That's true. And will he even go beads is the question. I mean, I expect he will with the composition he's up against here. It makes sense to go for that, but you never know with how these games are played. I guess the good news is if you're a Winner Dogs fan right now, the longer this game goes on, the better it should be for them as that Jingwei and that Tiamat start to reach later stages of the game. And now with this gank on Stuart, both relics now used. Stuart's still alive. Good route to turn it around. And reinforcements now on the way. Jack dunks on him, but Gamma did get his ultimate off in time. And Wowie will escape, but Gamma got dunked on too early. Wowie couldn't get his ult off in time to make sure Gamma could have been a little bit safer on that. So a gank attempt from Winner Dogs turns into a kill for the Artisans.
Just unfortunate that he got left behind there, Gamma. Good attempt at the gank, but Stuart, again, like I said, one of the best relic users in the SCC, manages to find his way for the team to get a victory in that point. And 1 kill later, Sturdy Artisans look for an objective. 1 kill later for Winner Dogs, they backed off into the jungle. It's that same ebb and flow once again. Good play from Winner Dogs to stop the fact that the Gold Fury is being taken down, but Sturdy Artisans definitely looking to start knocking on the door soon.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it was a wise decision from Sturdy and from Winner Dogs to make sure it's defended there on that side. Aquarius level 14 right now, alongside that of Relentless 1. This Gamma in the jungle on the Athena, though, looks like she did go for more of a damage and build this game. You know, the Greaves definitely helpful for a bit more protections, along with the Stone of Binding for extra burst damage. And now that Spear of Desolation too. The damage coming out from the Athena will be quite surprising to a lot of people, Alpha, but I think it's something we've started to get used to these days.
It is, and I certainly am no longer surprised when I just die to an Athena taunt now, because I'm thinking, oh, the taunt's the one that's actually done damage. Oh, there we go. The Wing Blade has been procced there for Sino. 30 seconds remaining on that cooldown, but just, again, more pressure coming from Winner Dogs. They're grouping up a lot better than they were last game. They're starting to really work as a unit, and I feel like they had to with this sort of composition. So they always drafted to force themselves to play as a team.
Definitely. It definitely feels like that's what Winner Dogs want to do, but at the moment they've left Wowie to continue farming. Benecu's in a pretty comfortable position in the mid lane so far. Got some of his core items online now, and just trying to continue to farm up as Wowie at the same level as him at the moment. Still behind that of Stuart in that lane in terms of farm for the time being. As Gamma, Andy and Benecu start to rotate to the right-hand side, where Aquarius should be able to get this tier 1 tower now. Should be a
power pull here. They were all moving towards it. Aquarius is rotating for it as well. But whilst they're doing this, they went over a ward, and that's left the Gold Fury completely wide open. A very strange play there again from Winner Dogs. They have to get this.
Just not really realising it. Studios get it though! That doesn't help when Ionic comes on him, blinks, and honestly, all he really used was Sickening Strike there and got the kill on the Pyro. That's an even bigger win, and now Artisans turn on the gas. They're looking for kills, and Benecu's the focus point. Ratatoska dunking in with the Acorns. Beads did avoid some of that damage with the Aegis too, but not enough to survive. Stuart, meanwhile, does get picked by Gamma and Wowie, but now Gamma and Wowie could be in a bit of trouble themselves. Sino, celebratory ultimate there from the Chak after getting that Gold Fury and the Pyromancer too, but can't continue the chase at all. Wowie forced to dash away. Gamma now surrounded, but he's got Anister and Aquarius watching on. It just looks like Winner Dogs don't feel comfortable about taking the fight after losing Benecu. And with Stuart traded out, it's not doom and gloom for Winner Dogs, but the objectives definitely are.
Oh, they plugged Relentless One back under the tower, and it's got plugged back in as well. One dies, one lives, and it's not the one you'd expect it to live. And it's the level 12, falls down yet again, is starting to fall a fair bit behind. Hasn't finished up his Gauntlet of Deep Stacks yet, and it's really starting to show.
Interesting though to see there that Relentless One just held those beads. I think he realised he wasn't going to die in that situation. Not against a Guan Yu and you know, an Ares at that level, especially with the tankiness he's got on this Ratatoska. So instead, eats it, gets pulled by the no escape and goes, no problem, I can hold these beads for another fight, or more importantly, more than likely when those taunts come through next time.
Yeah, the taunts are going to start racking up. Went for the beads, did Gamma, as did Sino. I was kind of slightly hoping that Gamma was going to go in for an upgraded Sunder, just for taunt, upgrade Sunder, and immediately the damage comes in through them. But Aquarius has got the Sunder already, and it's still picked one up as well as his second relic. Both of them not upgraded yet, though. It's a relic that I feel you have to upgrade. The second you get it, it should be one of your #1 priorities to get that upgrade online, especially if you have this sort of comp that whittles people down. You want to whittle them down faster.
Well, speaking of upgrades here, you can see Sino just went back to base with 2,500 gold. Has gone for the Igval this game, so it's more of an auto-attack build this time around here, coming out from the Chalk rather than the crit build. Is there still room for crit in this alpha, or is it more focused now on attack speed Chalk?
There's still a bit of room for crit, but you might see him just deviate from that now. He's got himself the Rain Dance and the Archival just to like double slow the basic attack speed. Could just go for something to like really make Wowy's life a bit of a nightmare.
Well, Wowy got very lucky there with how that Gust played out for himself. He survives for a while. Wowy's still under pressure though, and the attack speed's coming into play, but so is the crit from Wowy. Won't be enough for a kill for Wowy. Sino whittled down to low health. Gammon coming for the kill, looking for the play, but a good pluck from Ionic peels him away and buys time for Sino to survive. In comes Pagan on this Merlin. Not really said his name much this game, but Ratatoska dunking on down 2. Looks at Gamma and Benny Q. Tanky targets to deal with on the side of Winner Dogs though, so it's taken a while to whittle them down, but it's Benny Q at the back, who's very low, and it's Ionic that'll get credit with the kill with the Syndicate strike. Andy does eventually get down Relentless One, who took a lot of tower shots from that dive as Aquarius turns up to the party. It's a 2 for 2 on this left-hand side.
Aquarius turning up late for the fight once again, but the rest of the team from Steady Artisans played that fight brilliant. Stuart baits for as long as he could, unfortunately dies up in the sky, and Aquarius, oh Aquarius, where are you? This is not, there's no tower there, this is not your side of the map anymore. It's just it's like a fly, like just floating around him with this shark, not doing too much damage, but just annoying you very slowly.
I don't think they can kill him. I don't think they're gonna kill him. He's out. Yeah. I just slowly realised, I was like, in this position, there is a tier 2 tower, there's respawns coming through. I don't think you'll see enough damage out of those 3, even with Sino going for this more damaging build. But he catches Wowy mid-air with the silence, forcing the beats. The follow-up damage from Pagon is good, and Wowy has to box to try and survive, and won't be the case. Sino once again on a killing spree for the 2nd game in a row.
Yeah, that's the power of this sort. Oh, he's going to get caught there by the change by Ender, so 1 frame or so away from back here, but the Wingblade's going to get him away. Gamma's on the rotation, Bennyq's here as well. Who are they going to go? It looks like Pagon's going to sacrifice for his jungler.
Oh, definitely should be Pagon dying here. That should be the focal point from the Winner Dogs. Take out that mid laner and that damage. Meanwhile, though, Bennyq took more than bargained for from Sino, and Ionic blinking in with a second strike. One more tile and a tail whip will get credit for the kill. Sino's going to go down to Aquarius, so his Gamma's still struggling against Stuart, who's back in the fray. Good piece from Stuart, though, to avoid the taunt, but still, Ionic now on a double kill because of it. Stuart's still alive, however, but does die to Anders' chains as he went to the sky, and now it's the Sobek on his own, dealing with, well, let's be honest, the two members that can run him down here. All the while, Relentless One is split pushing to victory at this moment in time. Ionic will fall eventually.
It will be a long slug. Actually, no, and Aquarius a little bit more. How long until he has his ult back up? Because that diamond is nearly full.
Make it first. Yeah, Aqua should definitely get this kill. We just get to watch the whole Benny Hill of following him around the map as you see the Master's Will used at the same time as the Sobek strike, but as we said, the angles are all cut off, so eventually he's going to go down, and they're probably give it Wowy. Nope, Aquarius will get the kill. Surprised that Relentless One wasn't there, though, Alpha, for the whole of that fight. He just pushed out right side, got a tier 1 tower. Would we have liked to see him turn up there and support his team more? I don't know.
Like to have seen him either turn up or push down the tier 2 tower. Getting the tier 1, definitely not worth it. But maybe the call was, okay, they're probably just going to waste a lot of time over here. Just go get some farm and finish up some of your items. But now the Fire Giant's being pulled. It's down to about half health here, and no sign of slowing down.
Well, the problem was they didn't have that much damage to really burst it down in time is a problem. And this gives a chance for the Artisans to group on up, and Relentless One's already taken out Wowy, who didn't have beads for that engagement. Now, though, Relentless One's not really enjoying his life up against Bennyq and that Tiamat, who got a ton of damage off in that engagement. So Winner Dogs trade out their 1-for-1 Hunter for Solo Lane. Not too doomed from the Sturdy Artisans, but the Winner Dogs are actually doing a better job of getting some objectives now. Pyromancer's going to go their way, as Artisans just limp back and wait for respawns, it seems.
Without Wowy, it's taken them a while to chunk this one down. Bennyq turning up very late as well. But they still managed to take it. Still managed to get the objective. Bit of a different build than what I was expecting from Gamma. I was expecting a lot more damage focus, not going into too much protections, but going in for the Mail of Renewal. I like how synergistic this is with Athena's kit, though, because you taunt people in, you start taking damage, that time will start ticking up, and you can almost force them to proc it on you if you feel like you need to.
No, that's true. And also, think about the composition Winner Dogs have here. It's very much group as a unit, you know? So you've got Aqua, you've got BennyQ and Andy probably around you sometimes too. So that heal that comes through will help your team, you know? It's going to be a team play thing a little bit more. Turn on the Ionic, who's a little bit far forward on his own on this right-hand side. But we did see earlier on, they couldn't find the kill for a very long time with these two chasing him. And I don't think that'll be the case again this time round. Artisans now on the move from base 2. Did get the Oni Fury as well here, Alpha. So they've got a bit of pressure in the side lanes if they do want to try and start a fight around the Fire Giant.
Fire Giant definitely going to be the dance here. Relentless one going to be starting up here for Sturdy Artisans. BennyQ in mid lane making his way over. Wowie flying over now as well. It's just the 3 tanks, and I think Sturdy Artisans know it.
The pressure is on. Sana whittled down to half health as is Ionic. But look at the other side. Gamma and BennyQ really hurt as Andy's still being focused on by Sana and Ionic. Stuart alongside them though, so it's tanks on one side versus damage. And then on the other side of the map, Artisans are running away with it. Pagon manages to get the kill onto Gamma. And you can see BennyQ trying to survive as Relentless One's going in there. Crazy fight across the map as the fight gets split up. And all the while, the Oni minions on this left-hand side are pushing. Someone's going to have to base soon to deal with them, otherwise they will get a tier 2. And you can see the pings heading down there on the left as well, just to remind people that it is on the way towards the tower. Artisans, though, back to the FG.
That's good play from Artisans. They split the fight up, which is, it's not what Winner Dogs want. They want the fights to be 5 versus 5, not this 3 versus 3 and 2 versus 2. But straight down the middle, forcing the separation. Fantastic from Relentless One and Pagon to do just that. And now it looks like they're doing it again. BennyQ isolated in the mid lane, whilst the rest of the tanks are just in the jungle still.
Yeah, strange little skirmish there, but at the end of the day, it looks like it came about in favour of Artisans based in the health bars. Winner Dogs, who have some sustain though, with that Guan Yu. If they stick as a unit, it's going to be difficult to bring them down, but a good pull there from Pagon. It's going to cause some problems for BennyQ, who runs away, gets the chains out from Artisans to slow them down. Sino now going to wrap around, that's his Relentless One dunking on in, but he can't find a target he was after there whatsoever. Causing enough of a distraction, however, though, for the Artisans to keep on marching down this mid lane. Winner Dogs do survive, but look at the health bars of Artisans. They're healthy enough to look at the FG one more time.
Back towards it they go. Depleted of the resources of Winner Dogs. No Athena or Wowie on his last legs in terms of safety. With just the beads, his ult and Aegis are down. BennyQ, no relics to speak of, just has that change form really to think of to get himself out of the situation. It's going to be difficult for the Winner Dogs to push in here. And that's not even talking about the health bar situation. BennyQ has to back. If he gets hit by any form of CC, he's dead.
Yeah, rough situations. Keep an eye on the relics and stuff now, because I feel this Fire Giant fight, Alpha, could be the make or break of the game for either team. We're tied up in terms of kills, and the gold, sure, it's 4-5k, but the way these teams are scrapping at the moment, this could go either way. Fire Giant goes to Winner Dogs here. They could take away this game quite simply with how this one's being played out. Just keep an eye on how this one goes now, as there's a gank attempt to the right side being set up by San and Relentless One against Gamma and Aquarius. I don't know how many people are really going to die here, but it will force the start of a fight, knowing the situation.
He's chunking. Kasaido's chunking
Yeah,
Aquarius because of those
Chins.
size.
Yeah.
The chin size. Oh my
I always
lord.
say chins.
I like kins. Chin, skins, same thing. Potato, potato.
Tomato, tomato.
Kin
Fire
size.
Giant, though.
Exactly.
Down to half health here at the same time. Amnesty has to go in soon. They're slowly trying to bait him in, but Fire Giant is now down for Artisans. The zone work from them was good enough to give them the damage itself. Relentless One misses yet another ultimate with the Ratatoska, but at least he's in the fray causing some problems. Andy still with no escape. Doesn't get hold of anybody. It's the beads used across the map for most people. Pagon takes out Wowie, and that's the majority of the damage that Winner Dogs really had. Aquarius now taking out 2, and it's a 3v5 against the Fire Giant Sturdy Artisans. I felt like the Fire Giant could be a big play, whoever gets it, and the fact that Sturdy Artisans got it without Winner Dogs even getting in the pit is going to be a problem. And now the diving Phoenix is looking for kills when tier 2 towers still stand.
If there was a Phoenix exposed, that was 100% game. They could still realistically end it. I mean, the Titan will be really tanky with the fact there's going to be 2 towers and 2 Phoenixes on top of that standing. But there's still a possibility with the respawn timers.
Well, they do have minion wave in mid lane, which is quite important to them for those backdoor protections being removed too by the Phoenix. And you can see Pagon, there's a Phoenix up, Pagon, there's a Phoenix. Pagon, please. Pagon, there's a Phoenix, please. Okay, solo Gamma instead, that works. Whew, that was quite a bit of damage there. Now the rest of the 3 Artisans coming in, and this is looking like it will be game as Ionic goes deep enough to take out Gamma in the fountain room too. This is going to be a 2-0 to the Sturdy Artisans. A very scrappy battle, but it's not surprising when you get a lot of tanks in one game here, Alpha. And when you've got this many tanks, it takes a long time for members of the team to die. 16-19, Artisans come out with a 2-0 here today and continue to stay undefeated.
8-0, 2 more sets for them to go, and I think they have secured first seed overall with that victory. So, yeah, congratulate. I mean, if they don't, it'll be very surprising. It might take some form of catastrophic implosion for them to do so. But so, congratulations to them. But Winner Dogs, certainly an improvement from what we've seen from them on the previous set that they've had versus Sturdy Artisans, and in that second game as well. Just big improvements from the first game.
Well, that's what we've got time here for the moment. We're going to take a quick break and we'll break down the stats at the end of that game for you and get ourselves ready for the SPL. We'll be back after the break.
How you gon' lie when you look me in my eyes and you show me your facade? Show me your facade. How you gon' lie when you look me in my eyes and you show me your facade? Show me your facade. You a lie. You a front. You say anything long as you get what you want. Tryna play me like a fool, homie, I am not a clown. It ain't nothing but a game, cause all you do is mess around. Now I'm on the verge of a meltdown. Meltdown, meltdown. I should've known when I met her back at Midtown, at Dogwood, when I was going through a rough patch, but it's all good. I even told about the dark times I had in childhood when we was driving off of I-10 in Kirkwood. Now all that time I never get it back. You wanted that, used to hate when I didn't wanna hang. I noticed that, used to talking about your ex Jake with your next Jack. Used to messing with them white boys, now she went black. Wait a minute, guess you went and got yourself a real life. Got yourself some booty shots and lip filler. You just wanna make a rapper beat like Dilla. You ain't nothing nice, radiator, I spend it. Cause up close, baby, you a ghost. You a demon, and you should float. Get out the way, and just go. And just go, and just float, float, float. How you gon' lie when you looking in my eyes and you say you down for the cause, but you really here for the ride? You ain't really feeding no sheep. You're a K9 in disguise. Shoulda never gave you nothing but a funky high five. I know we can't go back in time, but I wish I could rewind and get back all that money that I spent every nickel and dime. Cause you a lie. Oh, you a front. You gon' say anything as long as you get what you want. When you got yourself a new man, it ain't even been a month. I feel sorry for your boo, cause he don't know what he signed up for. Do he? Ooh, yeah, I heard that you met him at the bar, Louis. Okay, don't try to do him like you tried to do me, baby. You a cold-blooded killer like stupid. Cause up close, baby, you a ghost. You a demon, and you should float. Get out the way, and just go. And just go, and just float. Float like a balloon, apple, empty bottle, cork, styrofoam, and most dead bodies. You killing me, homicide. Look at your lying eyes. I should have been better laced, cause I failed too many times. If money the root of evil, and you call yourself a dime, you gotta be penny wise. 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 Cause up close, baby, you a ghost. You a demon, and you should float. Get out the way, and just go. And just go, and just float.
I don't know if I'm okay. I don't see the light of day. Looking up to higher ground, thinking that'll be your sweet escape. These days gotta schedule the romance. They say that love is a slow dance. A short bike ride to the crib, using no hands, so did it feel like I'm floating? But I'm falling with both eyes closed when I let the rust spin. Testing the water, she got my nerves tense. Back when I ain't even have a purpose, I was so eager to learn some things. Anxiety bring out the worst in me. Society paint me as enemy. My making it by that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp on my scroll and my pen thinking dead. So mama found shit of them legs. She told me that's not who I am. But now these I put on for the fam, see you when I can. I'm surrounded by my feelings, I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. I bet I perish at 140 acres. She want the horse and the carriage, a porcelain and portion the garbage. I talk to the mirror, I know that.
And now we're back once again with the Smash Challenger circuit to recap exactly what we just saw today. Sturdy Artisans take the 2-0 over the Winner Dogs. I mean, unfortunate name, I guess, Alpha, because that's something they don't seem to want to do very often.
No, unless they're up against the Fishies, in which case they do end up being the Winner Dogs. Dogs kill fish, so it's no surprise to see that happen. But outside of that, no, they are really struggling. But that last game, the struggle came from the Artisans. They played almost like they were up to the standard that we were expecting this team to be up to. Unfortunate early death there for Anderster. Beads late, it's the classic thing that nobody seems to be able to beat to Sobek Pluck these days. But outside of that early start, Winner Dogs actually got a good bit of momentum.
They did. I mean, honestly, when you look at the two compositions they put together here, for the most part, it did feel like Winner Dogs were going to be aiming towards the late game with Wowie and Tiamat available for them for Benny Q. Like, it felt like they had good damage, good control in these engagements alongside... I mean, if you get Tiamat and Athena, you're expecting to put up a battle, right, Alpha? And that's kind of what we kind of saw in that second game.
Yeah, if you have Athena and Tiamat and you lose in 20 minutes, something is definitely up. But if you drag the game out to almost 30 minutes, it's a real struggle for the opposition to get involved in these team fights and get involved and take the win, then you know you've done something right. You know that there's just small, minor things that need to be changed up. And for the Winner Dogs, that is the objectives. They struggled this game to even look at any objectives. Even when they got themselves a kill or two in terms of a team fight, they just didn't do what the Artisans did, which is just go for it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there is the caveat, though, of Winner Dogs' composition. Not the greatest at taking down objectives, in my opinion. However, when you actually do look at how that game played out, I think there was windows where Winner Dogs could have taken some objectives and missed it. So we'll look at the standings, though, right now and see how this has all played out. No real surprise to see the Artisans still on top 8-0 now. 100% win ratio, whereas the Winner Dogs continue to sit towards the bottom, slipping to 2-6 now. They were tied with the Joes for a moment or two, but we'll get to see the rest of North America play out across this weekend. And here's a little look at how that's going to happen. Europe is all tomorrow. We'll get to have a little look in and see exactly how the accounting department do against Elysium. A very interesting game for you boys there, Alpha.
Yeah, it's one that we lost 2-0 in the reverse fixture, so we're hoping to put it right this time. We've got some ideas about how we're going to be doing that, but that's all for tomorrow. And if we do manage to do so, we put ourselves in an extremely good position to maybe even challenge for the first seed. But overall, we are going to be happy with top two. Like that's all this game is. Just get top two, get into that wouldn't say online, just the playoff setting, and go from there.
No, I get you. Do you like how I did that, by the way? We went from like casting together into like doing a coach interview too. It was perfect. Well, that's all we've got time for here today. Alpha, thank you so much for joining me today. That's it for SCC. We have SPL in about 40 minutes time, so stay tuned and we'll get ourselves onto the SPL as well. For the time being, though, enjoy the Thor nodding head music. We'll see you in a little while.